As I think about the white flight, I think about a little nursery rhyme that I used to know, and I'd like to take a few liberties with it. If I could sing, I'd sing it if I had an accompanist, but I don't have either the talent or the accompanist, so I'll just recite it. It goes, three blind mice, see how they run, see how they run. They moved to the suburbs and forsook the city, yet they come back to make their money. Oh, ain't it a pity? They don't want to pay to keep healthy the city where they make their money. Oh, ain't it a pity? Three blind mice, see how they run, see how they run. White is superior to black. We know that's right. And how come one black puts 10,000 to flight? Three blind mice, see how they run, see how they run. They say they move because of facts and figures, but isn't it really they don't want to live with the Negroes? Three blind mice, see how they run, see how they run. Now live where they like is what I say, but they must support the city where they earn their pay. I'm sure they will without too much beg, for the only ones who kill the goose who lays the egg are three blind mice. See how they run, see how they run.
Free form is the area where growth will take place, assuming present trends are followed. So that the whole thing will be, if I did the thing again in the future, I mean, it would all be brown inside the red line. And then proposed outer loop.
You want it in Atlanta, then the people in South Fulton be. This is government by the big shots, and I'm fed up with them.
Governor, what about the argument that something has to be done about
I
Atlanta?
can't hear it. Y'all going two at a time. That's
Well,
why
what
some
about-
of them going in yonder.
What about the argument that something has to be done for Atlanta?
Well, why don't they get off of there, you know what, and get right with the people and start being honest with the people? Jim, they never have to. What they gonna do when they annex this? They're gonna annex, then they're gonna annex Gwinnett, then they're gonna annex Douglas, then they're gonna. Every time you get in trouble, you're gonna annex another county, another 100,000 people without even giving them a vote.
What do you think?
What are we gonna do? You know, well, wait a minute, Miss Judy. We could say right now that if we had all of South Tennessee and maybe West, North, and South Carolina, that'd help our tax base, that we in trouble. So let's annex some of North and South Carolina, maybe some of the steel mills over around Birmingham, and that's going to help our tax base. This is stupid to say that we've got to get in more property rather than face our duties and our interests and our responsibilities to take a crutch like this and forget the rights of others. They've totally forgotten the children in the schools.
I've been so busy working on the one that just failed, the annexation plan for the city of Atlanta, that I hadn't really thought much beyond that. I had thought that was an excellent plan, and I thought that it could have gotten through the legislature. It came very close. So something close to that can pass.
Every study that's been made in the last 50 years has recommended consolidation of Atlanta and Fulton County. I actually think that the only plan that today, with our problems, with the tremendous number of people that are moving here, with the problems that extend across county lines, city lines, that some type of area government is going to be the only real answer. But I think that we at least must go as far as the county.
Well, I think that annexation would be the first step. I don't think that in the foreseeable future, and by foreseeable future I should really say immediate future, I don't see consolidation.
Consolidation, of course, is foremost in most of our minds, but if we can't pass an annexation bill, we sure can't pass a consolidation bill.
The people in the affected area did not have a voice. They were not brought into consideration or even consulted when the legislation was drafted. But their voice was heard in the halls of the General Assembly, and I think the Senate, the Lieutenant Governor, and others acted in its wisdom and not approving legislation that did not call for referendum of the people, or legislation where the people affected were not consulted.
If Atlanta grows, yes, I would like to see Atlanta grow, but I'd like to see it grow through a referendum, by a true referendum of the people outside and the people inside.
I think that Atlanta will have to expand its city limits. I believe that between this year and next year, we will see efforts on our part of the people from North Fulton County to come up with a plan of their own that we can maybe help and aid the people of Atlanta to some type of expansion to where my people will have a voice in how that city is expanded.
Would you be willing to vote for your area to come into the city of Atlanta?
No, I would not, because I think they ought to incorporate the metropolitan area of Atlanta instead of North Fulton, which I live in North Fulton. But I'm going to vote for Lester Maddox for not bringing up the bill, I can tell you that.
I think there are things to be said on both sides of it. Definitely Atlanta's going to have to do something, and I don't know whether annexing Sandy Springs is the answer or not. I think possibly a metropolitan government might be the best solution in the long run, though.
Colored people is taking us over.
So you are willing to have Sandy Springs go into the city?
Yes, let it go in so we can get a decent mayor for Atlanta.
If I wanted to live in Atlanta, we would have moved there in the first place. And I think an area outside the city, if it wants to incorporate itself and be a small community with its own local government, that's fine. But I think that they should stay to themselves. And the people who want to live in Atlanta can live in Atlanta.
As far as I can obtain, there is very little concern at all in the community as a whole from the average citizen on annexation.
You mean they just don't care much about it?
Well, it's this that it's not that they don't care. I just don't think that it has been properly explained to them, and they don't have a full knowledge of actually what is taking place.
Some of the annexation plans put forth would tamper with the black population ratio and percentage in the city. It might put it back under 50% again. Does that bother you as an editor of a black newspaper?
Personally, it does not bother me because I think it would have very little effect on the outcome of the voting strength, actually, of the blacks. I think that we would possibly be in as good a position with the annexed territory as we were in the past election, where we had a very good opportunity to elect a black mayor.
Lighter brown shows services it grants to the people in the community regardless of income or race. And then be concerned about on this one solution, waste disposal right in the beginning. Well, it seems to me that what Atlanta has got to do and may be able to adopt, but it will require the assistance of the state and the federal government, would be, one, the solution to their tax problem. Now, this may be some combination of the things I cited earlier, some kind of second tax as well as a transfer of payment. And if the state, for example, assumed welfare expenditures and the federal government assumed the education expenditures to an increasing degree, and at the same time Atlanta was given a second tax of one kind or another, then they'd be in the position to take care of much of the problems that they have, social and economic problems that have cropped up and come with being a large city. The second thing I think that in many cases they ought to be thinking of is that the possibility of establishing, as Mayor Maysel had to a certain extent before, a concept of neighborhood government. Because you see, the problem is as you grow into a larger city or into a larger metropolitan area with multiple jurisdictions to solve some of the regional problems, what you're going to have is an increasingly remote government and in relation to the people it serves. And I think that somehow you've got to have those services provided to the neighborhood and which offer or provide the greatest impact to people in the neighborhood under the control of neighborhood people through the normal political process. So that some form of neighborhood government, I think, would be a desirable solution too.